Yes, dear students, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Assalamu alaikum. Today we discuss the reforms that were introduced in the Arab Gulf states after 9/11, when America and other countries they demanded, they pressured the Arab Gulf states to introduce reforms, democratic reforms, human rights reforms. So I have discussed this topic in the last chapter of my PhD thesis, Response of the Governments in the Arab Gulf States. Many political scientists believe that democracy only succeeds when local social forces support it. Local social forces. You understand local social forces? Local people, local NGOs, local activists, local reformers, local leaders, okay? Local social activists. Many political scientists believe that democracy only succeeds when local social forces support it, when local people they support it. Then democracy succeeds. This means democracy grows only when it fits well with the society that accepts it. Democracy grows only when it fits well with the society that accepts democracy, that accepts it. Democracy becomes stronger when many pressure groups, social classes, and interest groups work within democratic rules. Work within democratic rules, various organizations, various groups, communities, when they accept democracy. So it becomes stronger. Democracy becomes stronger. Some scholars also argue that international support for democracy is very important. International support from abroad, support from foreign countries. Some scholars say it is also important. Acceptance at the local level, it is the first requirement. Acceptance at the local level, local people accept it. But if there is support from abroad, it is also helpful. Some scholars say. International support becomes more important when internal forces inside a country are weak. When democratic forces within a country are weak, then external support becomes more important. A sportive international environment also helps push countries toward democracy. Sportive international environment. When international community, foreign countries, when they support democracy, it also helps push countries toward democracy. When political systems in the Gulf states started to change, the role of the United States became very important. This chapter studies how the United States influenced the political process in the Gulf states. Political change in the Gulf happens slowly. Political change in the Gulf happens slowly and gradually, step by step. The change takes place step by step, but at the same time, this change is supported by a variety of internal and external forces. Internal and external forces. American policymakers always mentioned that democracy in the Gulf must appear through local processes. Local processes. They said Local societies should shape their own political systems. Local societies should shape their own political systems. They believed that democratic reforms work best when they come from national leaders and local institutions. Even then, American governments continued to support democratic reforms. The US tried to support reforms that were already gaining acceptance in the region. The United States encouraged the Gulf rulers to introduce democratic changes. It also pushed them to cooperate with various American agencies working in the region. Because of this, international pressure played a vital role. Vital means very important. International pressure played a vital role in supporting democracy in the Gulf. Many US activities in the region focused on providing alternative political ideas. Alternative political ideas. The existing political ideas were monarchy, kingdoms. Alternative ideas were democracy, human rights, political freedom, openness. These ideas often challenge the existing political systems. Alternative ideas often challenged the existing political systems. To understand the political reforms happening today, the role of the US government and American civil society organizations has to be considered. In the post 9/11 period, post 9/11 means after 9/11. After 9/11 period, political change in the Gulf continued. Political change in the Gulf continued. Democratic changes made progress step by step. These changes became stronger with international support. These changes became stronger with international support. Number one, now we will discuss the actual reforms. This was the background. Now the reforms themselves. 6.1, constitutional, judicial, and political developments. Important constitutional changes happened in the Gulf monarchies in between 2000 and 2008. Bahrain took the lead. Bahrain introduced a new constitution in 2002. Qatar followed next. Qatar implemented its new constitution in 2003. There was one major difference between the two constitutions of Bahrain and Qatar. The Qatari constitution was approved by the people. Approved by the people. A popular referendum was held in Qatar. So the people of the Qatari people, they approved the constitution through a referendum. In this referendum, 96% of Qatari voters agreed with the new constitution. 96% of the Qatari people, they approved it. Men and women both voted in this referendum in April 2003. In Bahrain, the situation was different. Bahrain actually brought back the 1973 constitution. There was a constitution, 1973 constitution, but it was not functional. So it became functional again after 9/11. This return of the 1973 constitution basically meant a new constitution was introduced. Both Bahrain and Qatar made big steps toward changing their political systems. Both countries moved toward becoming constitutional monarchies. Constitutional monarchies. If a monarchy becomes a constitutional, it means it accepts the laws made by the parliament and it becomes a democracy. As you know, in Europe, there are many constitutional monarchies which are the best democracies. Can you give any example? In Europe, yes, UK. UK is a constitutional monarchy. Monarch is still there. They have a king. But the king is under the constitution. And constitution and laws are made by the British Parliament. So in Qatar and Bahrain, they took some steps towards constitutional monarchy. The new Bahraini constitution banned physical torture, psychological torture, and all ill treatment of prisoners. Ill treatment of prisoners. So these are the steps towards human rights. So human rights is again democracy. This helped people feel more respected and more dignified. And democracy is human dignity. Both Bahrain and Kuwait introduced the idea of separation of powers. Separation of powers. If powers are concentrated in the hands of the king, is it democracy? No, it is authoritarianism. If powers are distributed among various organs of the government, it is democracy. Okay, separation of powers. In Bahrain, legislative power is now given to a two-house legislative body. Two-house legislative body. Legislative body means parliament. Legislative body means parliament. Some parliaments have one house, some parliaments have two houses. Do you know this? How many houses Pakistani parliament has? Two, yes. In Bahrain, legislative power is now given to a two-house legislative body. This body has the Nawab Council, lower house, and the Shura Council, upper house. The lower house is elected, the upper house is appointed. Each house has 40 members. Members of the lower house are elected through universal adult voting. Universal means when all people vote. Universal. Universal education means when all people have education. Universal means all people in the country. So universal voting, when all people vote. Universal adult voting, when all adult people vote. All adult people can vote. It is called universal adult voting or universal franchise. The Qatari constitution also divides powers among three branches of government. The Emir and his cabinet hold executive power. The Emir, the king. The Shura Council holds legislative power. It means the parliament makes laws. Now the king does not make the laws. Who makes the laws? Parliament. The courts hold judicial power. Kuwait also moved forward with separation of powers. For the first time in Kuwait's history, the Prime Minister and Crown Prince became two different people. Crown Prince and Prime Minister became two different people. The Prime Minister is now answerable to the Parliament. The Prime Minister can now face legal questioning. Legal questioning. The parliamentarians can ask the Prime Minister questions. These reforms support transparency. They support good governance. They help in building stronger institutions. In Bahrain, legislative elections had not been held for almost 30 years. For last 30 years, there were no elections in Bahrain. The new constitution of Bahrain required elections to take place. Qatar held its referendum in 2003. The Emir approved the constitution in June 2004. Qatar's new constitution created a 45-member parliament. It also introduced universal suffrage. Universal suffrage means universal franchise, universal voting. Universal suffrage means universal franchise, universal voting. When all can vote, it is called universal suffrage. Qataris aged 18 and above were given the right to vote in May 2008. The Shura Council approved the election law in 2008. This law created secret and direct voting. Secret and direct voting. The Qatari Shura Council can review the draft budget. Review the draft budget. It can also amend the draft budget. Earlier, Qatar's Shura Council had only 35 members. All of them were appointed. Before this constitution, all members of the parliament were appointed by the king, by the emir. After the constitution, now there were elected representatives as well. Now the council has 45 members, 30 members are elected, 15 members are appointed. So there is a change. If 2/3 of the Shura Council agree on a bill, it becomes law after the Emir approved it. After the Emir approves it. The council passes the budget. It oversees government activities. The council can question ministers. It can send ministers home by a vote of no confidence. By a vote of no confidence. Qatar's new constitution also protects people's rights and freedoms. Qatar's new constitution gives the right of assembly and the right to form associations. Right of assembly. People can assemble. Okay? People can assemble. People can hold public meetings. People can hold rallies. These are called assemblies. Assembling. Right to assembly. And the right to form associations. People can also form unions and associations. It ensures an independent judiciary, the new constitution of Qatar. It ensures freedom of expression and freedom of religious activities. Now, changes are allowed that reduce the freedoms given to the people. Some analysts say the new Qatari constitution is one of the most modern in the Arab world. Most modern in the Arab world. The Emir of Qatar created the Supreme Constitutional Court as another reform step. Supreme Constitutional Court was created. Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia also saw reforms in February 2009. The Economist reported that the reform could allow the council to choose King Abdullah's successor. Could allow. There was a possibility. Also, it did not happen, but there was possibility. This could become the first semi-democratic transfer of power in Saudi history, even if it were limited to princes. King Abdullah replaced conservative judges in Saudi courts. He replaced them with reform minded judges. He also replaced the conservative head of the judiciary. In February 2009, he removed the head of the Supreme Judicial Council, Sheikh Saleh Luhayadan. The Saudi king also removed a number of other senior judges. Sheikh Luhayadan was known for giving very harsh rulings. You understand? Harsh rulings? Very strict decisions. Very harsh. One ruling said, Sheikh Luhayadan was a judge in Saudi Arabia who was removed, and he was known for harsh rulings. One of his rulings said it was legal to kill owners of TV channels showing immorality. It was his ruling that it was legal to kill owners of TV channels showing immorality. So he was such type of person. So the king removed him. According to a 2008 annual report on civil society and democratization in the Arab world, Saudi Arabia is an absolute monarchy. Bahrain and Qatar are constitutional monarchies. Kuwait is a constitutional hereditary emirate. Kuwait was included in the Community of Democracies Forum. After 9/11, large reforms and political changes took place in the Gulf countries. The momentum of reforms continued. Parliamentary politics moved forward. Political systems became more open. Political pluralism increased. After 9/11, the Gulf region experienced a historic rise in electoral politics. So, elections started in these countries. This happened because of the constitutional developments taking place. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Bahrain, and Oman held their first ever elections after the US announced its policy of promoting democracy in the Middle East. Qatar held its first parliamentary polls in 2007. So, it's enough for today. In the next class, we will discuss 6.2 education and economic sectors.